Unmute myself would help, huh? Hello, everybody. We have got Stacy's in here, Papa Z, Built on a Rock. How is everybody doing? Thank you for joining me for the first ever In It Together live stream. And we're supposed to have a guest. He hasn't queued in yet, so we'll see where he's at. But hello, Stacy. Let's let me begin with saying what the goal of this is. I, about 2 weeks ago, started Weight Watchers. After I'd had my knee surgery, I had put on quite a bit of weight that I'd lost before. And I thought, got to do something, right? So the main thing was to share in knowledge. You don't have to be Weight Watchers to be a part of this. You don't, even have to be on a diet if you don't want to. I don't know where he is, Stacy. No idea. He got the link, so if something may have come up, they've got a lot going on. So if that's the case, that's okay too. Get you some water that I'm trying to learn to drink a lot of, and let's start sharing. Before we get started, I wanted to share with you guys. I think you saw it on the banner, but I'm going to share it again here. Let me see. Here it is. I have started a new Facebook group called In It Together, Living Your Best Life. If you scan the QR code, it will take you right to the website. It's also in the description. And the other thing is I've got a brand new mailing list. Hi, Papa Z. I've got a brand new mailing list that's also in the description. Please join it because I do a monthly mailing list. Oh, there's our guest. I see. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest out, and he can talk about also his stuff that he's been working on. So let me do this. Hi, Jason.
Hey, what's going on?
So when I started this whole idea, Jason was immediately on board. He thought it was a great idea. Jason, I was going to let you tell a little bit about the journey you've been on and what you're doing to combat that.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me say sorry that I was a little bit late. I was having an issue with your link. It would not accept my camera and microphone at first, right off bat. I don't know. It was weird. I messed around with it and got it going. But my weight loss journey it's been off and on for years. And I mean years. Like if you go back in some of even the videos on YouTube, I did a weight loss challenge one time with Wayne's Country Homestead. He's not even on YouTube anymore. But we did a weight loss challenge and we both lost a really good amount of weight. He, on the other hand, kept his off, where mine, I blew up bigger than what I was the first time. And it seemed like every time that I would focus on my weight, start to lose weight, and then get distracted, I'd blow up even bigger than, when I started. And so this is, like I said, this has been going on for years and years and years and years. And finally, I had some health issues happen with, and went through a bunch of tests and still going through tests. But they started the VA started figuring some stuff out, and that was one of the things that I forgot to grab. But they put me in there what is called the Move program, and basically what that is it takes a whole bunch of vets and they slap them together. They give them a workbook, and they give us this cool placemat. And I'm gonna get the girls to bring me my placemat. So excuse me just a second, because I was gonna have it out here with me, but this whole thing just with the mic and stuff just got me all discombobulated. So
It's okay. I know the first time I used StreamYard, I had issues too. But
yeah, and I tried Slim Fast. I tried just the old fashioned. I'm just gonna work out until my heart explodes, or I basically, whatever. I tried keto, and keto worked a little, kind of worked for me. I did Atkins. Atkins used to work for me. But the problem with all of those diets was the moment that I got to the point where you were supposed to start to reintroduce the carbs and reintroduce this and reintroduce that, I just it was like a sponge that got thrown into the pond. I just would swell back up, and I would get frustrated. I'd get up. I would go into a little bit of a depression, even,
mhm.
and it just none of it was working for me. My heaviest was where I was at. Thank you. When I started in the Move program, and I was up to 260, 267, I think I was at. And I just got to the point to where they started getting my medications and stuff right with my injury from the Marine Corps and everything, and it really started to work, and everything started to go with that. And I started looking in the mirror, and I'm like, I really don't like what's looking back at me, and I really started to have to I decided I had to make some changes. And so I entered this Move program with the VA. Now, here's at least the VA in Augusta, Georgia. I don't know about any other VA, but I know Texas has got to have probably some of the best VA doctors in the world, because it seems like every time there's a good one that shows up in Augusta, the next thing you know, she leaves and they're go. Well, she got transferred to Texas. He got transferred to, like, the guy that was working on my back at first. He got transferred to Texas, and then this lady that was in the Move program, she was all about our type of lifestyle.
Mhm.
Growing your own food, eating organically, eating raw, drinking raw milk, blah, 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 blah. And she really got me motivated. And off to Texas she went. So I'm like, daggone it, I'm going to move to Texas. But they
It's a
give
good
you
state
this.
to live in.
They gave me this. Okay. And they say this is what your plate is supposed to look like. You've got your protein, then fruits and vegetables, right on here. And then I'm trying to do this backwards. And then and then your starch right here. And I'm betting that everybody that's in the chat right now is looking at that going, yeah, my plate look nothing like that. Because even when I was counting calories, right, my protein would be like this much of the plate. I'm a carnivore. Where's the thing?
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, I got to use that. I'm only working with half a screen. So my protein would be like this, be a big fat steak or something like that, right? And then I'd have like this much vegetables, and then I'd have mashed potato. And so one
Yeah.
of the things that I started to learn in this class was how to do this plate. Like, I'm an 80s kid. I'm a Cold War kid. So I had the food pyramid, you know? And I had the little
Absolutely.
fat cartoon guy that came out in elementary school and was talking about the pyramid and all of that. And so that's kind of what we based our nutrition on. But we've learned a tremendous amount since then. And just like all vegetables are not created equally. You have
Absolutely.
There are some vegetables that are more starchy than others. And it talks about non-starchy vegetables, right? Right there
Right.
on this thing. And so working with a dietitian and everything, they started looking at the vegetables I was eating. I thought I was knocking this thing out of the park, right? I was like, and we started looking at the vegetables I was eating. Well, because of the vegetables and stuff that I was eating more starchy vegetables, so my starch portion here with my grains and stuff was taking up more of my more. I'm gonna get this in a minute. It was taking up more of my plate than it should. That I've
Absolutely.
also got a Fitbit. Now, fixing that alone, the plate alone, right? I dropped, 5-10 pounds. And it's not like I felt like I was starving either.
Right.
I was full. I was good to go. There's some people you hear them, they'll say 30 minutes before you eat, just drink an eight ounce glass of cold water because that'll supposedly it makes your stomach shrink and you eat less. Well, yeah, you eat less at that sitting, but 45 minutes after you're done, your stomach has went back to normal if it does shrink, and now you got all of that space in there, and it's going feed me. Exactly. And so then you end up eating stuff you're not supposed to be eating. Like popcorn. I am a crackhead when it comes to popcorn. I probably need like a 12-step program or something when it comes to popcorn, but that's my crack. I also had to learn that I was an emotional eater.
Oh yeah.
Big time. I like when my son was a teenager and we were going through that. That's where a lot of my weight gain came from because I couldn't just punch him in the face, to relieve that stress or whatever. I just went to food, and so I ate a lot of popcorn, and and of course you just don't have plain popcorn.
Oh no, it's gotta have butter.
No, it's got to have like I had to physically tell myself I'm not allowed to go to the movies. I let myself go to the movies like once or twice a year. And as you know, Misty, we're also involved with this group of superheroes, guys that are nerds like myself. We dress up like superheroes, and every superhero premiere, at least before COVID, we were able to take a child with cancer to the movies, and they would sit down with us, and I'd had to sit there and watch the movie through this mask. Now, this mask did help my popcorn consumption slow down a little bit because you can't be shoving a lot of popcorn when your mouth is like right in here. Right?
Yeah, probably so.
But I would the butter. And so I had all of these bad habits. And then when you add on, I'm emotionally eating because I either just can't or I won't lash out at what needs to be lashed out at, or I don't fully process it well. And I think a lot of people that are emotional eaters, I think it comes from their upbringing.
Yeah.
Like I grew up with a stepdad that was like, you have to play football, you have to work on cars, you have to do this, have to do that, and you have to be a manly man. And so in that upbringing, manly men didn't express their feelings. They didn't cry. They didn't talk about stuff. They just kept pushing it down. But you start pushing it down and it starts getting stuck in this area right here.
Absolutely.
And so I had to learn how to communicate and express health in a healthy fashion, the way that I was feeling, the stuff that I was going through and stuff like that. Then I was able once I started getting that under control and start being able to like look at my kids or my wife or whoever's getting me to that point that I want to just eat a pound of ice cream or something, that I'm able to look at them and go, oh, hold on, we need to put a pause right here because you're stressing me out or you're, making me feel this way and da 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 da. And one of the things that I've had to learn how to say, to Robin or to anybody like that, when I would express to them to that, and they would be like, well, no, that's not what I meant. Well, it's illegal for you to tell me how your actions makes me feel.
Yeah.
You can't say that. You have to process with how your behavior and how you're treating me is making me feel, to be able, so that way I just didn't dive into food that wasn't good for me or anything.
Right.
Popcorn, ice cream, cookies, cake, whatever. And so I had to teach myself that, one, that it was okay for me to be able to look at my wife and go, you're really stressing me out right now, or you're really hurting my feelings. You're making me feel like I'm not worth anything. And then I'd also have to have the backbone that because when you tell somebody like that, they naturally want to get defensive,
Right.
and they naturally want to say, well, no, that's not what I meant,
Yeah.
or that wasn't my intention. Well, one, right off the bat, it's illegal for you to get defensive and to tell me how I'm supposed to feel by your actions, because you're not me. So I had to get that spine about me to be able to say that. And once I put those tools in my toolbox, I was able to move forward and start to really grasp a hold of my weight loss journey
Mhm.
and my eating habits and my I don't want to call it exercise habits, but getting out and being active and stuff like that. And the Fitbit is an awesome, awesome tool.
Yes,
I
it is.
I think when you started asking about it, I sang nothing but praises about it. And I think you got one now. Farmer Meemaw's got one. Robin's got one. Crystal and Donald have one.
Hmm. My
And
mom's
so,
fixing to get one too. So
yeah, and the Fitbit does so many things for you,
yeah,
even on the app. Now, I don't use the app like I should, because I write everything out on a piece of paper, because I log my food. I keep track of my calories
sure.
like that. But I should put it in the Fitbit. If I honestly started to do that, I think it would be a lot easier on me.
Yeah.
But I think it's that whole comfortable level with technology and stuff with our age. I'm kind of comfortable with it, but I'm not used to it being there. I'm used to having to go to write stuff down in a pad.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so the Fitbit will help you keep track of your heart rate, your sleep. It'll give you a sleep score, your calorie intake for your foods, how much weight you have lost, how much water you have drank, how many
Speaking.
steps you have taken. It'll help you with keeping a workout goal, and it's like right now I have 10,500 steps, and
That's awesome.
I knocked out 10,000 before lunch, and so I'm being more active. I'm out there in the sunshine, and I'm out there because you get vitamin D from the sunshine,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think everybody, that if you're struggling with weight, I think one of the things that you should do right off the bat is go see your doctor, tell him you want blood work done, and you want the whole thing, every panel. You want hormones checked, you want vitamin levels checked, all this. Because they come to find out that with one of my injuries, I'm extremely deficient in vitamin D. I have to take a vitamin D supplement. And they are actually encouraging me, hey, on warm days, go outside without a shirt on. Get as much sunlight as you possibly can, because the one injury that I have, my body just eats vitamin D like it's going out of style. And that is also causes my weight gain.
Absolutely.
with guys. See, one of the things with guys that they have learned through science is that as we get older, we already knew our testosterone level went down as we got older anyway. But guys that keep everything bottled in, your body ends up producing, and it's got this funky name. It begins with a C, this other hormone that actually just destroys testosterone. It just eats it. And so as being a dude, that means our energy level goes down, our motivation level goes down, our sexual drive goes down, all that kind of stuff just goes down, and it all ends up sitting right here. So if you're a dude, okay, I don't know how many dudes are in the chat right now, but if you're a dude and you seem like to just carry all of your weight like a beer belly, the whole beer belly thing, definitely go get the blood work down, because that's one of the signs of low testosterone. You know, if you're not chasing your wife around because your sexual drive is up, or if you just don't feel motivated, you're struggling to get out of bed in the morning, those are all signs of low testosterone. Especially if you've been in the military and you've seen combat, that will lower your testosterone.
Really?
Any high stress level job will lower the testosterone. If you've been in any type of traumatic event, that'll plummet your testosterone. And so we are learning more and more every day.
Hey, Robin.
About stuff like that. And so the very first thing that I would suggest for anybody would be to go get your blood work done.
Yep.
And then you have to communicate with your family. Like my biggest supporter just entered the chat room right now, you know, and she works. I'm like a 5-year-old child when we sit down for dinner, because I just hand her my plate and she makes my plate look like this. Okay. So I'm extremely thankful that she does that, because that removes that issue from me. You know, yeah. I can't cheat by saying, because you know how we all like to cheat every now and then, right? We can find excuses. Well, you know, I did have to chase that pig today, so I burnt a little extra calories, so I can have a little bit more extra mashed potatoes, you know, or I can have a bigger portion of pork because I had to chase that pig, and so it's just vengeance is mine, saith the plate, you know.
Yeah.
But when Robin's making my plate, I don't have to worry about those excuses coming out, because she makes my plate for me, and boom, she puts it down in there. So she makes sure it looks like this, which is a tremendous help. And plus, she's there to be a cheerleader.
Right.
You know, like one of the things that she noticed that I didn't even notice was I was weighing myself every morning, because it was part, like the VA printout of the food log. It had it on there. What was your weight? They 1 through 6. And so every day I would get on the scale and I'd weigh it. So if one day I'm like 241, and then the next day I'm 243, I didn't think, well, you know, you probably didn't drink enough water yesterday. My mind went straight to, great, here we go again. I'm gaining weight again.
Right.
And then I'd get upset and I'd get frustrated and I'd be in a foul mood all day. And nobody likes to be in a house when there's one person that's in a foul mood. You know? And so she finally just took the scale and she hit it.
I had to have Keith do that when I had my weight loss surgery, because I'd gotten obsessed with the scale.
Yeah.
And I would freak out like, oh no, it's not working. I'm not losing weight. And finally I told Keith, just hide the scale. And it was like an addiction that I had withdrawal symptoms from not being able to step on that stupid scale.
Yeah, that is the best way to put it, because I never admitted out loud that I was addicted to stepping on that scale. But it was like having an addiction, because you'd wake up in the morning and I'd go looking for it real quick. And, that's right, she's not letting me weigh in, but every Sunday now, you know, and blow it off.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know what that scale said. And sometimes through this journey of mine, I have come to realize that those numbers on that scale, they don't mean anything.
No, they don't. The
They
scale's the
really don't.
biggest liar out there.
Yeah.
It's how you feel, how you look, how your clothes are fitting you. That is, you can be a certain weight, but you're still shrinking. I noticed that when I had my weight loss surgery. I could had plateaued on my weight, but I was still shrinking. My body was still
Mhm.
shrinking. So yeah,
The shirt that I'm wearing today, right now, you see how I'm drowning in this shirt. This is my two family long sleeve double XL t-shirt that 6 months ago looked like spandex on me. Okay.
yeah,
And I've only lost, according to the scale, I've only lost 20 pounds, but I seem to have gained some of that back because I'm back up to 240. Last time I was like 247, 240, 245, 247, somewhere around in there. But double XL t-shirts I'm swimming in now. My pants were a 42. I'm back into my 40s, and I can just about put my fist between my waist and the outside of the pants.
that's awesome.
Yeah. And so that's what you gotta, yeah, we need to step on the scale once in a while. But I think the better answer, or the better thing to look at for your progress, is your energy level, your mental health, and how your clothes fit. Because look, when we get up and we get moving around and we exercise, you've got those endorphins that start firing in your brain. And that's what puts you, you ever notice after a good workout that you're just in a great mood?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's because them crazy endorphins that are floating around in your brain. So that's good for positive, good mental health, is to have them things going around in there. And so if you seen yourself coming out of the slump where you're getting off of the couch more, you're putting the computer down, you're like, I got to get active, I got to get to doing something, I'm starting to get stir crazy. That's a good sign.
Yeah,
That's your body telling you, hey, we got all this energy, we got
let's
to
go
do
use
something
it.
with it. Let's go. And so whether you just walk, get out there and do something with it, but you'll start to see that you're in a better mood. You're able to take the curveballs that life throws at you, or the bad stuff that life tries to throw at you, and you're able to either sidestep it, deal with it, work the problem, and be done with it, where it doesn't just completely destroy you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know I've started walking. I've got screwed up knees and still recovering from that knee replacement. By the way, they don't tell you how long that takes. It takes nearly a year, they say, to get over a knee replacement
Mm-hmm.
surgery. And I know when I get out there and do it, I just feel better. I come in and then I'm ready to clean the house and all this stuff that if I sit here in front of the computer all day, I feel sluggish and just not worth a crap.
Yeah.
Hey, free, welcome.
And one of the things that, like in the move program, they tell you go out and walk, go out and do this, chop some wood, do this, do that, do this, and which is all said, and they're all great things to get out there and do. But there was almost a point in time when I was up there real heavy. I just didn't want to be seen. You
Yeah,
know, I was kind of embarrassed. I was embarrassed with the way that I looked. And so Robin found a YouTube channel. It's called Body Project. Body Project. They're out of Australia. Um, and it's a very good channel. Um, they always have like a heavy guy or a heavy gal there, and then they have a real fit gal, and then they have the instructor. At least on the videos that I've watched so far. Um, the really fit person is doing all the high impact stuff. Then you've got the instructor who usually does the low impact, but then you got the person that looks like you and I back there knocking it out, you
right.
know. And there gives you the options to have You can do the low impact or do the high impact with them. And so I started doing those. Robin and I got one video that we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Well, we used to do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the morning, but now that we got these milk cows, we're probably gonna have to switch it to the evening time. Takes about 30 minutes. Takes about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, but it gets the heart rate up and going, gets your lungs expanding and contracting because you're sucking all that air, and it's all around. It's a really good workout, and he does it with folks like you and I in mind, people that are out of shape, they know they're overweight, so it's not a lot of crazy moves. It's very simple moves, like punching,
Yeah.
uh, they call them stars. They're basically jumping jacks, but with a low impact. You come up one time and you take like this foot and you just push it out, and then the next time you do this foot, push it out. You know,
Oh, that
real,
would be awesome.
yeah. Check them out. I think
Absolutely.
that's what got us going, and we've been doing that for a while. That I actually started to move up to the more high impact with the workouts, and then I was doing that 6 days a week for a while because I was hitting that scale every day, and I was like, I was like getting mad at the fat in my body. It's like, I'm gonna kick your butt. Me and you are going to war, and I'm gonna win. And boom, 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 boom. But the weight just wasn't coming off like I thought it should. And another problem that, like, I don't know what the average age of folks there are in the chat or watching right now. One of the things that I had to realize was that I wasn't 20 anymore.
Yeah.
And the fact, and what I mean by that, it's not that I couldn't do the exercises or anything like that, but it's just at 20, your metabolism's still running wide open.
Absolutely.
And so the weight falls off quickly. I'm 3 years away from being a card holding member of AARP.
I'm 1 year.
So
Yep.
my metabolism's like, bruh, we're pretty close to retirement, so we're not gonna go at it. And so that was one of the things that I had to come to terms with. It's not that I didn't have to learn; I had to come to terms with it. So once I came to terms with that, and I accepted that was a fact, there was nothing about that I couldn't change. I realized that I had to change my way of thinking to fit that I'm old now. I'm an older guy. And so we're talking with the dietitian and everything. They put me on a weight training program. So on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I do the cardio. Then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I'm supposed to be doing stuff with weights, just working out with weights. And that seemed to help a little bit. But I'm not as enthusiastic about it as I was before. And I think that's all mental because, again, I'm not 20. So I am not I'm not able to put the 300 pounds on the bar and bench press like I was when I was 20, Right now I've got like 45 pound dumbbells in each hand, and I'm kind of like, I'm like, this should not be true, right. But it is. And it's just because I've gotten older, and as I got older and I went through the depression and everything, my activity level went down. So my muscles got weaker. Right. And it's just retraining. But sometimes we all beat ourselves up here. Yeah. I really believe 95% of weight loss is all mental.
Oh, absolutely it is. Absolutely. We were talking the other day about going to the gym. Our friend Dee from Etchley and C has rejoined Planet Fitness and stuff. And I didn't ever really comment, but I was the same way as you. Is I hated going into a gym because I felt like every eye in the room was on the fat chick trying to do
Mm-hmm.
the workout and stuff. I do love That's what I do love about Planet Fitness, because there's a lot of fat chicks in there, fat guy. You know what I mean? It's not just these muscle bound guys that want to show off in front of the mirror. And
Yeah.
I hate that we don't have one here, but you know, it's, but I understand. I literally used to, when I was at my heaviest, and when I was at my heaviest, I was at 380 pounds. I was big. And um, we would carry two carts in the grocery store. A lot of times I'd have to use those motorized carts. I just couldn't walk like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would make Keith put all the fattening food, in his cart, ice cream, sodas, chips, all that stuff. And I'd only put healthy food, because I had a lady come up to me. Um, my husband's a sugarholic. He loves all this stuff. And I put it in my cart, and I had a lady come up and say, you wouldn't have trouble with your weight if you would take all that out of your cart. And it was humiliating to me. I left the cart and just left the store. I didn't even finish shopping that day. I was just so devastated that someone, thinking they had good intentions, wanted to school me on weight loss. And it was horrible, that people can be such jerks. And emotionally, that's rough on you.
Yeah, because it's like you want to look at the lady and go, I know I have a problem. You're making my problem worse. So I think I'm just going to headbutt you and walk out the store.
Right?
It's yeah. Well, it's like my own mother. One year at Christmas, she come down at Christmas. Come down, she went, "Wow, aren't you heavy?" And I'm like, "Wow, this is coming from." And I wanted to say, "Wow, coming from the person that used to be the alcoholic."
Right?
You want to throw stones, don't live in a glass house. But I didn't. I just left it alone. But I mean, that hurt.
Yeah.
And that again, when you're an emotional eater, that just that did nothing but make me go right to the pumpkin pie at Christmas and pumpkin roll and eat it like it was my full-time job and I wanted overtime.
Absolutely.
You
The,
know?
the one cool thing I like about my program, you were talking about the Fitbit, it ties into the Weight Watchers app. And I was watching a really good video this morning of, I was even not doing this right, is that it's on a point system. They give you so many points a day that you can have, and then you have weeklies. Like you'll get extra points if you eat more vegetables, if all this stuff that they'll give you extra points for. I haven't been eating all my points every day. And they're like, this video I watched, this lady said, I struggled at first with Weight Watchers because I wasn't eating all my points. So I wasn't getting enough calorie intake that my body didn't think I was starving to death. And so that's something. Yeah. I know you and
Same
I've had
thing.
that conversation.
Remember? You remember when remember I was super upset on Polo, and I'm like, I don't understand why I'm not losing weight. I'm burning 4,500 calories a day, and I'm taking in 1,800. And I think it was Shayla, Deanna, all you guys were saying you got to eat more, and I'm like,
Right.
I got so mad at y'all. I'm like, y'all don't know what you're talking about. You're not a doctor. You're not in my mood program. And I got mad, and Robin would just sat back, and then I think it was the dietitian or it might have been my doctor that they just looked at me and said, you're putting your body into starvation mode.
Yep.
So anything you take in, your body is holding on to it for dear life because it feels like you're going through a famine, because I mean, our bodies were naturally made to deal with feast and famine.
Exactly.
I mean, way back in the day, the feast time was, summer through fall, because that's when everything was, all the vegetables and all the fruits and stuff were coming and ready to eat. you'd go hunting to get your protein and stuff like that, and you would gorge all winter long off of that stuff. But then come late winter to spring, you're kind of in a little bit of a famine stage because you're waiting for all the stuff to grow,
Right.
you know? And so it's normal to put on a couple of pounds during the wintertime, because I think I read this in one of Salatin's books, that the feast and famine, well, in the wintertime, you're going to eat your heavier meats, your beef, your pork, venison, stuff like that, because you're going to want those extra fatty calories to just help stay warm.
Yeah.
Where in the summertime, you're going to be eating more salads, more fish, chicken, your lighter meats, your lighter calories, because that's what's available. Because you're
Right.
not going out in the summertime and you're not processing, you shouldn't be processing a pig or a cow during
Right.
this time. You should be you should be catching fish and processing chickens and getting ready to go into to being like a more of like a vegetarian state for this time. There's a lot of good books out there that explain that. One of Salatin's books is that one, the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. It'll scare the absolute
Yep.
bejeebas out of you. But I don't necessarily agree. I'd had no luck with the juicing process
Yeah.
at all. I don't think I've met anybody that has.
It tears my gut up. It's just too much, too much, too much,
Yeah. And everything in balance. But the hardest thing to do, the hardest part of any weight loss journey, because look, the world has set us up to be fat. They set us up to fail like this.
Yep.
And it's ridiculous that a 2 liter of Coca-Cola is cheaper than broccoli.
Yep.
It's
Or
ridiculous.
a meal at McDonald's is cheaper than what you can buy at the grocery store and make it yourself.
Yeah. You can go to McDonald's and spend less money than if you walked into a farmer's market and tried to buy some broccoli and cauliflower. So we're set up to fail, and it's all fats and salts and all the bad stuff. That's why heart disease is on the rise. That's why diabetes is on the rise. That's why all these other things are on the rise. But that's also the reason why you see folks like us going back to the basics. I mean, you grew a phenomenal garden out of containers in an apartment. I cannot wait to see what you do in the next couple of years where you're at now.
Yeah.
But that's why there's that movement back to a simpler time, a simpler way of life, growing your own food, being independent about it. And it's taking off. This movement's taking off like a wildfire. I mean, there was nobody really talking about it or doing it when Rob and I started. I mean, we're the first homesteading channel on YouTube that was putting out homesteading videos consecutively. And that's when the movement, it really started back then in like 05. Or was it 08? Anyway, somewhere it was something. And it has grown to the phenomenal level that it is now, that you have conventions and you have, hatcheries and heirloom seed companies grabbing a hold of people and helping to just push this and really get this out. And then the pandemic helped also, to really get it out there. And I think we're going to see a change in the food system, the commercial food system. They don't have a choice at this point. I believe they don't really have a choice. So that's going to help people that can't do and live how like you and I live. So that's going to kind of help, but you have to have that knowledge and hold on to that knowledge, and to realize that, yeah, I'm gonna have to start visiting farmers markets more and buying more locally grown stuff and get me some free range eggs that's healthier for me when it's got more vitamins and the good cholesterol in it, versus going to get those 99-cent things. Because at the end of the day, you're going to pay for it either way. Right. You're either going to pay for it with the food, with the local farmer, or you're going to fatten the doctor's bank account because you got heart disease, diabetes, whatever. So you're going to
Right.
pay for it either way. And type 2 diabetes can be cured with a diet,
Absolutely, it can.
you know? And so there's a lot of positives for it, but the hardest thing I honestly believe is right it's between our ears. It's right here. You have to get up every morning and look in the mirror and say, "You got this today. You're
Right.
going to kick today's butt, and you're going to kick those fat cells that are lodging around this and trying to form around your this organ, trying to form around that organ. No, we're going to kick their butt today, and we're going to keep on keeping on." I was listening to Damon Thompson. Anyway, he's a preacher in over there in Saluda, South Carolina. Has a podcast, has a YouTube channel. David Thompson Ministries, I believe is what it's called. And I think he's getting ready to move to Alabama to get the church going. Anyway, he in one of his podcasts, he said something that stuck with me. And it's not just on a religious aspect. This is life in general. He
Yeah.
says we all have our goat man that we have to fight. And what he meant by the goat man was somebody that was goading you to do the wrong thing. It was goading you to go eat that ice cream, goading you to not talk to that person that just said something ugly to you, to go eat a box of Oreos. It was goading you, goading you, goading you. And we all have to fight that goat man. Now, I picture my goat man to be like from the cartoon He-Man from back in the day. He's got Skeletor's face. He's got all those muscles, but he's got some horns that come back like this. That's what in my mind, that's what my goat man looks like.
Okay.
And that goat man, I have to punch in the mouth every morning because he wants to start getting in my ear talking about, just lay in bed, man. Just stay there. Or then when I wake up, don't take those vitamins. You don't need to take those vitamins. You don't need to take those pills that are making you feel good. You don't need that stuff. And so you always have that voice of doubt, that goat man in your ear that wants to tell you, you know what, you're giving you all these types of excuses. You are tired today, and the elevator was out at work, so you did have to walk up and down those steps. So technically, you shouldn't really have to go to the gym because you already had your workout today.
Right.
He's always in your ear telling something. So you have to fight that goat man. And I think that's the biggest battle in weight loss. When you
Absolutely.
can get that goat man up against the ropes, that's when you're going to start to see results. That's when you're going to start to see your clothes start to fit looser. And that's when you're going to start to just feel better, because as you get those endorphins and stuff flowing, like we were talking about earlier, that goat man, when them endorphins are going, he can't speak louder than them.
Right.
You know?
I think that's one thing that in the bariatric field they fail their patients at the most. When I had my bariatric surgery, I had one visit with a dietitian and one visit with a therapist who basically passed me or failed me whether I could have the surgery or not. Nobody told me the emotional things that you would go through. Nobody told me when you start losing all that fat, for women, the estrogen is in that fat and it does a mass release when you're dropping weight that fast. Nobody told me that. And my husband was pretty convinced that I was losing my mind because I was just a hormonal crazy, but they don't tell you any of that. They don't tell you the emotional struggle that you're going to have, the what do they call it? Where you hate your body image. I mean, we've got friends
Body
that
shaming.
yeah, pretty much that they lose that weight, then they start noticing, well, I've got saggy skin, my breasts sag, or whatever it is that they see about themselves, that they just take one hating their body for being fat, but now they're hating their body because they have, it's not a Sports Illustrated model,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you have to get For me personally, I have to be in a mindset that it's not all about just how my body looks. It's about my health, how my endurance, my ability just to go do what I need to do, not be wore out from just
Mm-hmm.
walking out to the chicken coop. So I have to put it in that kind of mindset that this
Mm-hmm.
is um, not just about weight loss and leave the scales alone.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
that's a struggle.
it is a struggle.
I mean, every day because I mean, let's face it, we all want to have that beach body. You
Yeah,
know, we all want to to turn our partner's head. You know, when we walk in a room and flex a little bit for them or
right.
something, and then she's like throwing her panties or whatever at you. We want that type of body, but we also have to come to the realization that at a certain age, everything is going to sag.
Exactly.
You know, no matter how many jumping jacks you do or lunges, things are things are just gravity sucks.
Absolutely.
You
It
know,
doesn't get better.
no. I mean, you could probably duct tape stuff up,
Right.
or something. But
Pay
we
10
have,
grand to have the skin removal surgery.
yeah,
Yeah,
the mental part of this whole weight loss journey. One of the things, and they don't teach this in school, and they should.
I agree.
Um, One of the things where you should be taught at an early age is that, well, one, actions have consequences. Okay, we have to accept um, the fact that we did this to ourselves. Okay, so we have to take responsibility for that. We can't blame Joe Schmuckatelli or anybody else because they hurt our feelings and we went to a box of Oreos instead of dealing with Joe Schmuckatelli. We have to accept that, but we have to learn, and this is the thing that should be taught in school. We have to learn how to express that, how to communicate, how to be able to have the courage to look at somebody and go, "That wasn't cool, man. That bothered me on the inside," you
Yeah.
know, and be okay with saying that, and not walking away and punching a wall or eating Oreos or popcorn or ice cream or whatever. We have to take our responsibility that nobody else is in charge of our own body and our own habits but us,
Yeah.
and learn how to project those feelings and that stuff onto in a healthier way versus eating something, you know? Because 98% of people that are overweight in America are emotional eaters.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I apologize if I look distracted. My daughter has been in the doctor's today. She's got the crud.
Oh, really?
So
Your husband's sexy legs that just walked in
I
there
know
and
he
then
he needs
back.
to
That
he
was
needs to
huge
come
distraction.
he needs to come say hi if he's going to keep walking through the video.
I mean, no, and you can't help but see him. They're like super white. He got some really white legs. I'm like, "Ooh, is that Casper?"
I'm just glad he's wearing shorts. Hadn't been for the last couple of years he started putting shorts on. So, one of the things for me is, my spouse loves me and he can eat whatever he freaking wants, right? Um, but he would go in there and get some cookies or something and he would just come automatically set them down in front of me, just being nice. He wasn't trying to like sabotage me intentionally. It was just, I'm going to eat some cookies or whatever, and I thought you'd like some too. And I finally had to say, stop doing that. if I ask for something, or, or at least, at the very least,
Hmm.
ask me,
Yeah.
you know, then we can kind of, and he's like, you're right. And I'm sorry, but the other thing is important for me is have healthy options here. Have healthy snacks, stuff that's on my plan that I can do. I'm going to be putting out a video that's coming out Friday on a healthy dessert, and I'm really excited to show it. My mom made them and they were awesome and they're easy to do. But just have stuff. I have a lot of apples, I have a lot of oranges, bananas, a lot of the stuff like that that I can have on my plan, and just to reach for that before you would potato chips, or, whatever other things that we can find to snack on.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Robin and I have been talking, because the more I listen to you about the Weight Watchers program, the more I'm actually considering it, because one of the things, like this dietitian, she was trying to get me to talk about the she wanted to talk to me about the difference between the good fruit and the bad fruit, and which one had this amount of fiber versus that amount of fiber, and which one was a healthier choice. I'm like, you're wanting me to do math. I didn't
Yeah,
like math when I was a kid. Don't like math now.
right.
I really
I'm the
don't want
same
to do math.
way.
I don't want to do math.
And to me, this program that, it's a new version of Weight Watchers they just come out with, took this took the stupid out of it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They make it so easy. My Fitbit connects to it, that I can look on my app and see, that I've had my breakfast this morning. I had a smoothie. But if y'all can see that, I don't know if I can, but it tells me I have 24 points left today. And they base each one is individual. They base it on your sex, your height, your weight. Like my mother joined the program too. Um, and she got 19 points where I got 27 points, but I'm taller than her. She's 5 foot nothing, and she's a little bit older. So she really is short, but so it balances. And by the way, I do have a link down below. They do give a 30-day free trial, so you could go and try it, and if you hate it, then don't, you don't have to do it. But yeah, I'm really 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 liking it so far, and I know our friend Shayla lost a lot of weight off of it.
Hmm. And
So
simplicity is the key.
absolutely.
That's what one of the things I tried to tell. And she was a young girl. She was probably fresh out of college, 22, 23, working for the VA. And I had to have a conversation with her when she's talking about, well, you got to look at this fiber and add this, subtract this. And I'm like, Donna, I don't have that kind of, one, I don't like math, but two, I don't have that kind of time.
Right.
And the moment that you start to make somebody have to work to do math, to do whatever, that's just going to increase the probability that they're just going to say one day and be done with it, and they're not going to do it. Where if, from what you're saying with the Weight Watchers thing, that if they just have to go to their phone real quick, we live and die by these things now, and then just punch things in and it does it all for them.
Oh, this one, it's hard to show y'all on here, but it has a little deal that has a barcode reader. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you can scan. I've used it at the store to scan stuff, or, anything that has a barcode on it. And nearly everything these days has a barcode on it, right? You can scan it and it automatically puts it in the system for you and tell you how many points it is.
Yeah, but can you just type it in what it is too?
Yes, absolutely.
Because like like for example, we haven't bought meat in like 2 or 3 years.
Right. But
You know,
yes, you can absolutely. It has a track food, and you can put it here, and you put in how much you have. And sorry, my daughter just walked in. Um, my Kendra has lost like 30 pounds um, since she started college, simply because she has to walk all over campus,
hmm
and she's doing great.
Yeah.
She really is.
Now, if there is somebody that's in the chat is up to like the weight where you started and whatever, one of the things that I would suggest for them, if they're able to walk, one of the things to be able to get really just to start to doing is as they're watching their favorite TV show during the commercials, just stand up and walk in place.
Yep,
Just stand
absolutely.
up and walk in place. You'd be amazed, one, how many steps you get in just by doing in a 30-minute show. And you would get you the average what is the average commercial span is like 5 to 8 minutes now. You know,
Yeah,
because really in a 45-minute show you're getting only like 10 or 15 minutes.
yeah,
The rest of it is commercials.
right. Exactly.
So that's basically an equivalent to a 30-minute workout.
Yeah, and I think it's perfectly okay to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I go walking, there are some days better than the other with my knees or whatever. But if I can get up and even walk, to the driveway and back 3 or 4 times and then stop and then later in the day go out there and do it again,
Mm-hmm.
I think it does add up, and I think it's the important thing is just moving. I wanted to throw this up real quick. We're past our hour, but I wanted to invite all of you that are in here. Invite your friends. Um, we've got a new Facebook group. It says "In It Together." Living your best life. That QR code will take you there, or the link to the group is in the description. I will be going live every Monday. Jason, I promise I'm going to have you back as a guest, but I want to bring different people up and talk about different ways they do things and their struggles and you know, this is all supposed to be encouraging for all of us. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Jason, you got any final
Oh, in
words?
that's a Facebook group, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, so we'll be able to go in there and be able to encourage one another and stuff too, right?
Absolutely. Share recipes, share ideas,
Yeah.
all of it. That's the whole point behind it. So
And if you're getting ready to start your weight loss journey, sit down with your family and tell them that, because like how you were saying how Keith would bring you the cookies and stuff.
yeah,
My daughters were the same way. Like Carol and I have a history from way back when she was a baby in a car seat. If we were out riding around and I had to stop and get gas, I'd get her a moon pie and a yoo-hoo. That's our thing, you
yeah,
know. And so the other day she went out and bought a box of moon pies and she went to bring me one. And I'm like, baby, I can't. And it hurt her feelings. But we had to sit down and we had to talk to say, look, this is really important. I really got to lose this weight so I can walk you down the aisle. I can play with your babies and everything
absolutely.
like that. And so you have that conversation with your family. Make sure your kids are there and involved, because your kids will be your biggest cheerleaders.
Absolutely.
They really will. If they know that you're working at something, like Dessa and Carol, they'll look at me sometimes and be like, "Where are we at with steps today, Dad? How many steps you got, Dad?" You know,
Yeah,
those kind of things. So bring them in, because the more of a cheerleading section that you can have, it increases your chance of success because the world's already against you.
absolutely. And Keith made the comment the other day. He said, "I'm not on a diet, but I am," because he's eating the same thing I eat. That was a big thing when I was a kid. My mom would literally make two meals. She'd make one for me and her, and then one for my dad and my brother. It, it was awful because I would see what they were eating, and it was like, but I'm eating broccoli, and y'all are getting a piece of pie or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very important, even if they maybe eat a little more than you do or a little different, that your family gets together and they really eat the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's good for you mentally too, that you're not on a different page. But I'm going to shut this down now. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And I hope to continue grow. Go join the group and be sure and check out Jason at Big Bear Homestead. And also, I'm going to have a video coming out Friday for a diet friendly dessert that I think you guys are really going to like. So, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see y'all next time. God bless.
God bless everybody.